Tell me what the hell are you scared of when in the end the only
Where's the love? Right here on this podcast. Welcome to Love Drops, where your hosts and One Love ambassadors, Charles and Diane, will share love, hope, and inspirational topics taken from their journey and world events. We will also include on location recordings and special pop up guests from cool places all around the world. So sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
whether big or small, love never fails. Oh, love never, love it conquers all. Love never fails.
Welcome to the Love Drop Podcast, and I am so happy for another exciting episode. Today, we have with us Christine Campbell. I met Christine through another mutual friend. Well, actually, yeah, it's two mutual friends. Christine is friends with Sally Arkell Boyles as well as El Naj. And so Christine and I were both contributors to the Unapologetic Woman uh, Empowerment magazine that is online. And Christine reached out. We had a conversation. From that conversation, I was like, oh, yeah, she's one of the builders. We're going to build bridges together. We're going to build global bridges together. And we're going to make ripples. So, and we're not going to delay in doing it. We are both about the actions. And so, in less than a week from that conversation, we are here recording this episode. And without further ado, Christine, you got the mic.
Whoop, whoop. Super excited to be here. You know, life is so small. I am coming to you from Canada, but the interesting story about me is that I have lived in 5 countries, 30 cities, some more than once, and all the people that we're connected to, I've never met in person. And
Wow.
so when someone says you can't build a business, a life, a friendship being interconnected because you have never hugged them in person, I will call it out and say, absolutely, it is possible. And a funny story, while I have lived around the world, that's meant I've often been far from my immediate family. And people think that the digital world's new. But I have, in fact, Skyped with my parents since 1996 every week. And so when people say I'm struggling in this new space, and I said, come spend some time with me, because to me, I've literally done it since 1996. We always have a bit of a running joke, 50-50. Will my parents get on the first time or not? It's still never certain, but we have a lot of fun. And I love that conversation through digital can really bring awesome people together. And I'm really excited to be connected to you and to be here today, sharing some love.
Awesome. Whoa. 1996, you say?
96. Skype.
Wow.
So you think Skype has been around a lot longer than you think?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I remember Skype.
It still does that when you call.
Oh, my goodness. Yes, I remember Skype. And so, you know what? I am going to pay it forward a title that was given to me this week in an interview earlier, and that is Digital Nomad, right? And I'm paying that forward to you because you are like the ultimate digital nomad, just traveling around, just reaching around through technology and building friendships, building friend works, right? It's like when we first talked, we talked about everything under the sun. I want to say as we trailed off, I think we got into a little bit about the business. I remember just the clear aspect of your business, because clear is a buzzword for me, because my book is clearly ready. And so I'm all about that clearly, right? And so it resonates. And so with that said, how about you talk about your business, the inspiration? Tell us about it.
Yeah, my business is called Clear Acceleration Incorporated. And I will tell you that clear has a lot of meanings. There's an insider meaning for me personally. Clear is, in its phonemic way, it's actually capitalized because it's actually my initials with my husband's initials together, because we were looking at how do we create ripples as a family? How do we create ripples for the passions we each individually have? And how is the umbrella that we come together around? So I always think of it when people say, why do you spell clear capitalized? I say, because it's actually our initials. Our
Wow.
first two initials of our name and our combined last name together. And that's something that's an inside moment for us. And we said it's going to be an umbrella. It's going to be umbrella for the ways that we make impact. In the business side, what is so fundamental to me is that clarity is the ultimate accelerator. So often we take, I'm going to say, the detour or the lazy route that says, I'm not clear, thinking that I will get clear by myself. And in fact, I don't believe that that is truly possible, because clarity comes through discovery, and it is accelerated by conversation and by being in communities. And when you say, I don't know what I want, I say, you've actually known what you've wanted since the moment you were born. The challenge is that you are unable to articulate it. You don't want to say it out loud because it's going to mean you have to take movement. And yet I say, actually, listen, that little girl, that little boy knew what they wanted. And it's time to reconnect to that, because the way that we create big ripples and the way that we show up and play together is by saying who we are, what we want, what we are going to accomplish, and who do we need with us on the way. So it is really about, in my world, I work with business owners to get clear, because I said, you cannot compete in a crowded marketplace when you're vanilla and sound like everybody else. That was not your purpose. You have a unique lens, a unique experience, a unique gift, and it is time, maybe in a safe way, to whisper it to me first, but we will help build the capabilities so that you can really roar it to the world, so that you take up the space you are innately given to do in this earth. So for me, clarity is such an important part of it. And I said, two sides of that always, make my heart lift when I think about this and the impact we're creating.
Wow. Whew. That was good. That was good. I mean, I love the concept that you and your husband took the initials of your name and put it together to come up with clear, so it's really an acronym for, just both of your names. So it's like both of you guys are entwined in this business. So wow, that's powerful. That is powerful and fortunate, because your name come together for something so cool, right?
Yes.
So
we brainstormed a lot because we have independent business dreams, but we're always going to build them connected to each other. I said, my dreams are not his to lift, but I have his support, and vice versa. But one of the earliest recognitions when I started to incorporate, we started to think about the next iteration of, am I really going in? Like, you're dabbling, or are you really going in? And I believe in anchoring visually. So I do have a vision board, because it reminds me to show up. It reminds me that the thing I want is on the other side of fear. I take the action. So it's not like it's just, it looks good. It's no, that's where we're going, do the work to get there. And in the time, it was during the pandemic, and I started to tell a story to myself that I was doing this for him, or I was doing this for my parents and my in-laws, who are both sets aging at that 85 plus level. And so time was a gift that I wanted to be able to have flexibility for. And bless my husband, because he called me out and he said, I've listened to the story a couple times, because he was sharing an office with me at that period of time. He doesn't share it now because he decided I talk too much. So he decamped. But he said, I've heard this story a couple times, and I want to tell you it's not true.
Whoa.
And I was like, what do you mean it's not true? And he's like, it's not true. Like, our family is incredibly proud of the impact you're creating. But look at that board, 90% of it is not us. It's the impact of the people that you're changing lives. And yes, you're changing ours, and we're along for the ride, but you don't do this for us. This is oxygen for you. And it is beyond the family. So don't delude yourself, because none of us require you to be successful in this business for us to love you, support you, and be behind you. So, sweetheart, you need to rethink that story. And I was like, at the time, it was like a dagger to my heart. And I was like, but I'm so about other people. He's like, the first time that you told me you were going to do this, you said it was about you needing to do this for you. That is as true today as it was the moment you said it unedited. I was like, oh, and he's right. He is right. It was hard here, but he's right.
Wow. Okay, can I just say I love your husband? Never met him. What's his name? You have I want to hear his name.
His name is Edward. Ed.
Wow. Okay, so goosebumps and watch this, right? So my husband's middle name is Edward.
Mm.
Right. So so when you said that, I was like, whoa, goosebumps. Because, and the reason I said that is because Charles will do that. He will do that for me as well. And that is to be that voice of reason and to be that voice that will just speak for truth,
Mm-hmm.
that will speak for truth. He calls me out because a lot of times I'm doing so much and I'm pouring so much into just others, right? And just and he'll say, I think, it's about time for a reset. I think it's about time maybe for some relaxation. And like you, sometimes it's like, especially when you're really in the grind, it's like, dude, not trying to hear that right now, but I need to hear that right now. And just my dude not trying to hear that, it doesn't stop him. He's like, no, seriously. He said, because you're gonna crash and burn. And so you're not gonna be any good.
Yeah.
You're not gonna be any good.
You can
And
lose that perspective. And it is wonderful when you have people that care. And I said, not everyone has supportive partners, family, friends when they go into whatever their reinvention looks like, whether it's business or personal. And I will tell you, it doesn't matter. It is a gift when it's there, but it doesn't matter. And I knew when I first started my journey, because I've lived so many places, I have a very independent spirit. I said, I know how important you must seek out those that just will appreciate you, because they are there. To have no doubt in your mind that they're there, but you haven't found them yet. But you must pursue that, because truthfully, that energy is different. And it's lovely when you do have support, but your calling isn't dependent on the support being there. And
exactly.
so seek the community if you don't have it immediately in your inner circle, because they're
Yeah.
like, what are you doing? And what does this mean to us? Is a fair question. When you
For
start
sure.
pursuing something that's growth orientated.
For sure. And I really like the word community. And I was introduced to a word, believe it or not, friend working. I was maybe reintroduced. Maybe I knew it, but I forgot. But anyways, I'll say introduced. I knew Friendsgiving. That word came to me several years back, maybe over a decade ago, where Charles and I were invited to a Friendsgiving affair, which is, the Friday after Thanksgiving, when friends come together and share a meal and just share time on on that Friday. And it was amazing because it was just a community of people from just all around the world. There was some that we knew and it was some that we met. And it was just the most beautiful experience ever. And my tagline is, it takes a village. It takes a village, literally, it takes a village. And so I live by that. I live in that. I have villages all over the world. I'm going to say I haven't been as many places as you. And me being the nomadic traveler, globetrotter person, I just have to know, what are some of your favorite places that you've traveled to, and why? Why?
It's interesting when you've lived so many places, a lot of it comes down to geography. And I just always look at it, well, that's just a new geography. What really matters to anything is the experience, the community, the connections, and the places you make. So people always say to me, what's home? And I said, I have about 12 places I would call home. And it's always not meant glibly, because in that moment, that was home. And when you move around a lot, I sort of have a formula. Year one, most people are good human beings, and they generally will invite you to things or tell you about things and say, this is kind of what our community is known for. And you should just say yes to everything. Don't judge, say yes to everything. The year two, you have to build the community yourself. You have to go to find a new coffee shop, go find a new bookstore, go find a new place to go have dinner, whatever your favorite food types are, experience the different cultures in that town, because that's how you feel connected. And if not, you're ready to be blown like a feather in the wind to the next location. And eventually my dad kept saying to me, I want you to know when you're going to stop being blown by the wind and anchor somewhere. And I'm like, I don't know, Dad, not yet. I don't know. And it really wasn't until I met my now husband, because he had children. And so I was by nature saying, he's like, we will need to be here for 5 years because they need to finish school. After that, life might open its doors, and I'm open to giving travel an opportunity that I'd never had before, raising children. So for me, some of my favorite places, it's funny. I spent a lot of time in the UK. I've spent a lot of time abroad, and I love London. I went to school in Scotland. Scotland feels like my roots, and it is my roots. My grandfather emigrated from there, but London feels like home to me. And my daughter is going to be with her boyfriend going to London in the new year, between Christmas and early part of January. And she said, where should I go in London? And it's funny. I'm like, I was there almost 5 years. And I'm like, well, go to Spitalfields Market to go have paella. Go here to go sit in the park. There's a really good place to grab a coffee and a macaroon. And all of a sudden, she's like, so what about the touristy things? And I was like, I would need to ask my parents. And I went to them all. Like I said, Westminster Abbey. Okay, to be fair, my big thing was Westminster Abbey, because it is stunning to walk within that cathedral and the heritage, and just to see all the people that are have walked there is amazing. But it was funny because to me, every memory I have usually comes down to food and experience with someone else.
Yes.
So when I go back to New York, I love New York City. If I'm in the States, I love New York City. I've been several times. And when I was last there, I had a girlfriend who was living there. And she's like, so here's the touristy things. And I'm like, basically, I want to eat my way through New York. Where should I go for whatever? And that's what I did. I did do the Met. I went to go one cultural element. I went to see the Metropolitan Museum, because I'd never been before. But because I've been there several times, I'm like, honestly, I just want a street walk.
Right.
I don't want to be a street walker. That means something different. I
right.
Right. I want to walk the streets and soak it in. I want to be part of the culture. And I think that's where my biggest memories lie. So if I'm in a metropolis, as I said, my life goal when I was young, when I started to move around a lot, was I want to build my own version of the United Nations, where I could go any part of the world, know where to get great coffee, where to find a great bookstore, where to go find, the pharmacy if I needed it. And a person I could say, could you give me a recommendation for dinner? And that is the legacy I'm actively choosing to build. And so I love being in nature. I love saying, like, where should I go explore? Where should I go relax? And where can I go find other people when I want to people?
Yes. Oh, wow. That is so good. I love it, because as you were speaking, I'm like, wow, another connection, because I am the same way. Wherever I go, I want to taste the local fare. I want to taste what they are known for, right? So when we went to Philadelphia, I needed a Philly cheesesteak in Philadelphia, and it ruined me for life, because there is no Philly cheesesteak on the planet like a Philly cheesesteak from Philadelphia. It's all about the bread, the cheese, the meat, how they put, oh my God, it's just all like, once you do that, having it elsewhere, it can be good, but it is not a true Philly, right? New York, when we're in New York, similar to what you were saying, we just explored, haven't been to the Met. And when you said that, I said, okay, I need to do that. But we took the trains. We're in Times Square. We stopped and got a slice of pie pizza, right? Down up in the train station. And the guy was like, let me show you how to do it. You got to fold it this way. This is how you eat it.
You got to do the local way.
Right. And it was so good. Been Jamaica, and had the jerk man that was just like right out by the sea with his drum barbecue out there doing jerk chicken. And it wasn't like a speedy process. You had to wait for it. By the time that it was just a whole process, him cooking it, you waiting, and then that first bite.
The artistry of it, yeah.
It's just
I can't eat a peach without, like, a peach is never as good as when I traveled to Cyprus. This was when I lived in the UK. I had a girlfriend, tragically, had lost her husband. She widowed at 40, and she ended up seeking herself and went away. She met a new beau, but she met the new beau eventually, and they settled in Cyprus. He was a Cypriot, and I came out to visit them, and his family had a farm of peaches and olives and all kinds of amazing things. And they're Greek, so let's feed you. Sort of the way they approach they approach hospitality. And once one of the sisters knew that someone had fed me some meal, everyone else wanted to feed me another meal. But his father would show up every morning with peaches from the orchard. I'm like, I have never had a peach that's been as good ever. Warmed from the orchard, fresh picked in the morning with yogurt. I'm like, I have tried other great places that make peaches, and they're known for their peach production. It has never been as good. Wow. And I always think of my girlfriend and her husband and his dad, and the fact that he couldn't speak a word of English. I couldn't not speak a word of Greek, but the hospitality of a fresh peach in a crate. And he's like, he'd show up every day with like 30. And I'm like, I don't know how many you think I could eat for breakfast, but like one is good. He's like, but you might find the one you want, was what they translated it to me. And I was like, wow, the first one was amazing. I didn't need to pack through the
one you want. I love that. Find the one you want. But you know what, too? Even if you had that peach, right, from Cyprus, you said, even if you had that peach and you brought it back to Canada, right, it would not, because it's the whole experience. It's like the air, the environment, it's just all of it. It's just like the whole experience of it. And I say that because in Jamaica, I had like this malt drink that they use goat milk, and then it was like a malt, and then it's like kind of just chocolatey, and they just do it, and they sell it in the store, right? And I had it every day. They're just sitting, and then you got the breeze, and it was just so amazing. So I was living in Georgia. You were just talking about peaches, but I was living in Georgia at the time, and the first day home, I made it just as they told me. And it did not taste the same. And it wasn't. So I was like, you have to be in Jamaica. And it,
that
so
embodiment moment.
Other elements too. So, it's amazing how, just like with food, how you were saying, your friends, her beau's father and family, they didn't speak. You couldn't speak the same language, but in community, the language is love. In community, the language can also be food, right? Because you just share a good meal. And it's amazing how much you can communicate without speaking the same language if you're open and receptive to it. So to allow that to be a blocker, right? To just join a community. Well, I don't speak the language, but if it's a community of love, you will learn how to communicate effectively. Sometimes it's through music, right? It's music, and you can just dance. You don't have to talk to dance with someone. You don't really have to talk to eat with someone. So there's so many ways, right?
Absolutely. And it is what connects us. And, I think for having traveled a lot and know that will always be part of what I choose to dedicate time to it is geography. It's the memories you make. It's the being present in the moment. And truthfully, what I know in the world of business and I know about life is we're all driven by the same things. And I think we've gotten really far from that truth. We all care about people. We care about our legacy. We know we want to know our time here mattered. And if we could find ways to appreciate that humanness and bring the human back into the conversation, I just think that's the world I want to create. Exactly. And I must do that by my action. So I'm very committed to that and saying, yes, it requires you to see a different lens.
Yeah, absolutely.
But you know what? You've got two eyes. There's a reason for that. Two different lenses.
Yeah.
At minimum. Start there.
We have 4. No, look, I'm just kidding. No, but seriously, it's like my whole thing is I want to connect on a human to human basis, and then we'll see. Because honestly, I don't care how good you are at what you do or just how successful the business is, if we cannot connect human to human, respect, and in some sense of love and community in it, then I really I don't want to do business with you because I don't feel like you are going to get me. If you
Mhm.
cannot connect with me as a woman, then you're not going to get me. You're not going to get my vision. You're not going to get my heart. And how
Mhm.
can you represent me if you
Mhm.
don't get me? So
Yes.
you're just taking your motto, slapping it on me and putting it out because that's your formula for success. Well, what if I want none of that? What if what I want is against the grain? And what if my definition of success is different from your
Yes.
definition of success? So it's so important. It's the connection. It's the connection. I've had people connect with me on LinkedIn per se, right?
Mhm.
And so as soon as you accept them at, they start sending you all the stuff about them. They send these long
I
things
know. I
and
hate
it's
it.
just automatic. So now I'm just at a place where I just unfollow. Now
Usually me.
decided,
Unfollow, remove connection right
right,
away.
exactly. I'm
We are
not even
not
gonna put my
compatible. You don't
energy.
understand the way I see the world. And that's lazy on your part because I actually am really vocal and I'm really public about how I see the world. And so if you didn't even invest the time, I also know we're not invested in each other. And I
Exactly.
say to people who in my client world, I will never make an offer if I don't feel I can help you.
Right.
It was driving me crazy. It still makes me frustrated beyond measure of watching people in my space who only see their own lens
Mhm.
and like this is the formula, this is the script, this is successful for me, so the problem is you. A real approach like that, it makes me crazy. I have clients that come to me because they're wounded by that experience, and I said
Mm.
my job is to be your thinking partner as a human with my expertise, which is extensive in the world of business, to help you find your lane. I am
Mhm.
not vested in which lane you choose. I will make support and guide you to make a decision so that you can create clarity. And so clarity can accelerate you into the path to create results and ripples. My job is to be creative with you.
Right.
How do you want to play? How do you want to show up?
How do
And
you?
that always starts with heart. It doesn't end with it either. It's just all encompassing. And I said to
Mhm.
people, candidly, we're going to spend a lot of time together. So if we don't first like, mutually respect, and trust each other, next we're
Right.
not playing. I don't make an offer. Just don't.
Right.
I don't want to play
Why
that way.
would you? Why
Yeah,
would you?
I watched
Because
them and I said, "There, money's abundant.
come on.
Not a money
Come on.
thing. Please stop that."
Come on. I'm serious. It's like, why would you? Because what's the price? And this is something I've lived with for many years. What is the price of your peace?
Mhm.
What is the price of your peace? I mean, will you sell your peace for 1 million, 10 million? What's the price for your peace?
Yeah. The bigger all question I think is you think that peace isn't achievable. And I'm like, it is actually. And it's funny, it's not the thing that you would sell on the label. And we had this very interesting conversation just last week with some amazing business women. And I said, you can't sell peace
Right.
because
Right.
I think it's unachievable. But
Yes.
that's just because I haven't lived the experience of embodying peace. But when you are in sync with your heart, with your humanity, with the right people who do challenge you with respect to grow, to see beyond, and to bring a new, fresh perspective, guess what? You do actually start to go, this is what peace is like. And I know because one of my clients, when I'd asked them to speak on the behalf of the experience of working with me, said, I actually sleep better at night because I have peace of mind. I would never have
Mhm.
sold them that. But that
Right.
was the experience because there was trust, both trust in me, but the biggest legacy for them was trust in themselves because they're like, I actually do know where I'm going. And I do know
Exactly.
where I find gaps. And I do hear Christine in my brain to
Hmm.
help me course correct as needed. And I appreciate that. But peace is something that I said it is something you can embody. You can't buy it. You have to live it. And it starts with knowing what you want, who you
Hmm.
are, and the legacy you want to create. And I don't mean the someday legacy. I'm in the
Mhm.
legacy through the actions you show up in. It's the living piece of it.
Absolutely. And you know what? I totally agree that no, you can't sell peace. And guess what? You cannot even give away peace. What
Mm.
you can do is just create a peace within yourself. You can create a peace in your environment, and that is felt. And once that is felt, then there is a choice, right? The person can choose to get, just engage in and allow that peace to,
I want to be around it because
right.
the stillness is what's attractive, and stillness is an interesting thing. It's a big part of what I work with people on. I said, you're going to move at a speed. When you're still, it's not still. It's
No.
high vibration, but it
Yep.
looks still and it's
Yep.
certain. And what we're questing for in this world of chaos and more and just the distractions and the shininess, I'm like, I want distilled clarity for you. I want you to
Mhm.
find your lane. I want you to find the 20% that brings the result and lean in to the stillness.
Yes.
Because guess what happens? Everything moves, but this feels like play. Like that is what we are meant to here to experience.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're around it, you're like, why do people like, in my world, why do people like coming into my space? I said, because they're like, because you're so clear. I don't feel like I get that a lot from other people. I said, I am working on that. It's like an onion. Every time someone thinks I'm clear, I'm like, wow, I feel like a hot mess, but I'm working on it. It's a commitment to myself.
It's a commitment to yourself, and that's where it starts with you. So even what you're offering in your business, right? The things that you're offering, it starts with the client. And if
Mm-hmm.
the client is not willing to do the work, then it doesn't matter how good you are. That is not, because you cannot do the work for them. So like
100%.
you
I never
cannot,
want to drag you anywhere. My
right,
job is not to convince you to go there. I always
right. You
say,
got to be
is
ready.
your fire lit? Because I can't light it. I can add oxygen to it, but I
Come
can't light it.
on. Come on. Now that right there, ooh, goosebumps. I love goosebumps. That is
My friend
goosebumps.
would call them truth bumps. My friend Carolyn calls them truth bumps.
Oh, I like that.
Isn't it
Truth
good?
bumps. Yeah, that's good. That's
Like a
good.
tuning fork. Oh, I heard the truth.
I-
Ding.
Right, right. So we can't continue this conversation without just saying, so what is your offering? What is your offering to your clients? And what are some of the successes that you've seen from your offering?
The thing I always tell my clients is I'm here to help you create the impact. And it's 3 results. One, it's always clarity. Who are you? What do you stand for? Where do you want to create impact? Then it is about establishing the confidence of owning your value. Why are you the must hire? Who do you call? And you need to be the beacon and you need to be the magnet that pulls it, but we need to know why so that you can own your own inner truth. And then thirdly, it's how do you create more value in the world? And the value is not in your own space. It's the value other people are seeking and you're guiding them to achieve it. And that's the ripple effect. So when I work with clients, that's the goal line. That's what I want. I want you to be confident in your path in business. I want you to know how to make decisions quickly. And I know you trust yourself to think
Mm-hmm.
and iterate and see repeated success, whatever that looks like for you and whatever scale it looks like for you. And we do it through the simple thing that nobody's helping you in the world of business. Every business on the planet thrives on 3 core foundations. The house is built here. And a lot of people skip it and nobody wants to teach you it because guess what? It requires focused effort.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I like to play in the deep end. So I help people figure out who is the buyer. Who are you really going to exchange, connect, and give value to? And it is
Yeah.
not somebody who's 35, lives in Boise, and has all these weird domestic attributes. That's not the buyer. And I think the world has convinced you otherwise. It's the pivot point of movement. What's the challenge? What's going to create the catalyst, the movement? Because that is really where you need to get clear. From there, we work with clients to figure out how do you move somebody from
Mm-hmm.
curiosity to paid client. And that's a movement piece, is that we are all about movement. People connect in sequences We need different patterns. We need to build trust. We need to build credibility. So I help people figure out the movement piece. And then finally, I want you to lead. You need to lead the offer. You need to be clear how you help someone else. And I think so often in the world of business, we think we're the solution, the provider. And I said, you're not. And especially if you're a service provider, maybe different if you're a product, but I work with service-based businesses primarily. And I said, your role is to guide them. And so be clear, if you want to get into the game of business, it is not about your own success.
Right.
Honestly, like I want to know you succeeded. That's true. There's trust in that. But more importantly, I want to know, are you interested and are you capable of guiding me to create it? If you don't want to play in that game, please get out of the world of business, because this is not about you.
Right.
It's about not helping someone else and really being the guide. And that's where you have to have confidence in yourself, knowing what they want, knowing how to flex your skill set. And at the end of the day, be passionate about their results. That's kind of where it happens. And so I absolutely love the ability to work with clients who start to live, I'm going to say, more unfiltered, because I said, you're lost in the sea of sameness. You have a vision, but you sound like everybody else. You're struggling to get clients because you're working in the space of enlightenment, which is awesome. I'm glad you did the work, but your client isn't in that space. So for you to find them, you need to start being a little more unfiltered and actually strip back the layers, because at the heart of this, who you are is who you need to be. Right. And that's the filtered piece. I said, but then you're going to need to whisper it and you're going to need to roar it in the embodiment of confidence, not in swagger.
Right. I love that. Oof. That was good. That was good. That was so good. Wow. Just wow. Your confidence comes across by just knowing, hey, this person, their fire is lit and they're ready. This person is getting ready, but they're not yet ready. This person, this person's still waking up, right? And so, and just and knowing this and knowing where to best apply your gifts to help your clients, right? Your clients can feel, from just your vibe, just that initial vibe. You can feel it back and forth. Like you can meet somebody and you're like, yeah, I want to work with this person. Or you can meet somebody and it's like, not feeling them, right? So right. And so you get that part. But then here's the other part to it. Your track record. That's important, because if you're out here, selling, growth, if you're out here selling clarity, if you're out here selling yourself as a guide to bring out the best, to help get you to the next level, to soar, to go. Number one, what are you doing? And then what is your track record? So what speaks for you, Christine, without you opening your mouth? What speaks for you to bring you into the rooms that you have no idea are even in existence? What speaks for you?
To me, it's honestly the human caring. People will come into my space and say, she is a connector. And she's a connector, not for self-interest, but just genuinely for the thing is, I actually get out of bed because I want more of us to be succeeding in this world. I didn't set out to be a mentor. I tell people that really candidly. I actually set out to be a great entrepreneur. I am a great entrepreneur, but that was my goal line. And that's the measure I set for myself. I am a walk your talk person. And so when I came into the world of business, I have worked in personally 9 unrelated industries. I've been successful in marketing, sales, operations, influencing people. And the only way I kept my job is if I could make money for people. And I made a lot of it. I've worked with more than 400 companies. We've created $1 billion in revenue. I actually know how to create money. Money is not that complicated. And yet what matters to me, I said, is I could be a connector.
Mm-hmm.
And so what comes from me is I actually will take the time to care. I am not here for self-interest. I know the right people will say there's a truth that really resonates with me. And the questions you're asking are not complicated, because I do believe business is elegantly simple. But what they say is, I can't answer it and I'm avoiding it. I might need somebody to think it out with. And the simplest question I ask my clients is, sounds good. Is it true? That's a clarity question, because we can get really cut into the trappings of it should look like this. It should sound like this. I should do this. And that's just a recipe for disaster. Because I said, for you to be unfiltered and to be the beacon to create the results you're here to do, I'm just along for the shotgun ride. And it's an absolute gift to be invited into somebody's dream. And I never lose sight of that. But I also say to people, I will hold your vision when you wobble, but you told me this was important. So sounds good. Is it true?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then how can I help you? And that might be not working with me. And I will absolutely refer you to someone awesome and say, you should meet them, because I don't know what will happen. It's not my role to know.
Exactly.
I do get to be funly watching from the sidelines. I'm always thrilled when I see people doing something fun together. And I'm like, cool people support cool people. That's why we make a difference.
Exactly. And you know what? You are a connector, just in that last statement that you said, and you didn't say it to go with it. And that's the deal. When you walk the talk, then you exude, it just pours out from you. So when you made the statement, hey, if we can't work together, let me fix you up with somebody else. Let me send you in a different direction. Here's someone else to check out. And, so you just send them, and you still help them to continue their journey. And you're cool with not being the one to facilitate that. And I love that, right? I love that you have the confidence to know that it's not your role to fix them. You have the confidence to know that even if it's not you to work with this person or that person, it doesn't speak to who you are, because you know your truth. You're holding your truth. It just speaks to that relationship. And I think that so many times people try to force things. If you wear a size 6, stop trying to put your feet in a size 4. It's not going to fit. And if you get those feet in there, it's going to hurt so bad you're not even be able to walk. So when you kind of just look at what we're doing here, if it doesn't fit, don't force it, right? Just allow it to flow. Sometimes the things can come and take up a space. It's like something really amazing coming for you, but you're trying to make something fix so much. You're missing the big point. Just let it flow and just release it, with that connection, right? You release it with that connection, that maybe it'll work over here, right?
And there's a time for things. I often, I want to be clear. When I'm supporting someone who's a client, I said, I want you to be committed. My job is not to commit you.
Right.
You might feel committed to this is a choice, an active choice. We both have to know that, I said, where that value is, where that intersection point is. And there are times when I say to people, I won't make you an offer. I don't want to take your money. When there's other people, I'm like, I can't wait to fly now that you are ready. And that means I know, and then you talk about confidence. I said, I just know I'm committed to this path because it feels like oxygen. To the comment we talked about with my husband. And I said, I know that I will be here in a year. If you listen to this in a year from now, you're thinking, I need somebody who's a truth teller, who has compassion and heart, who has the skills to help me. Maybe you will want to have a conversation. I will say, when you're ready, and people show up in my world and say, tell me what it's like to work with you. I said, so you've decided you're ready.
Right.
Awesome. And that doesn't mean that immediately goes to yes. Sometimes people will come and ask me, and then a year later they come back and they said, I watched you fly and I have stayed where I am and it's irritating me. I said, so what's the answer? I don't want to start small. I want to start big. I need to do this because I wasted a year. Okay, cool.
Let's
What does
go.
that look like? It
Right.
happens all the time.
What does that look like? And I like that. I like your question. Man, it just sent truth bumps. When you said, so you said, okay, so what is it that, what you're saying? So like if I say my message to the world is just, I am a one love ambassador. And then you come back and you say, I hear you saying that you're a one love ambassador and that's what you do. But is that true?
Yeah. So what? And I would say two things. One, is it true? And two, what? The second thing is, so what?
Right.
And you know why so what's such an important question? Because it is about the movement. And I said, what are the foundations? You have to move somebody. It's not enough to just simply declare, awesome, I've declared something. And that's important from an embodiment point of view. I'm not at all saying skip the step. But once you
Right.
have the step, it's not enough to just stand on the step.
Right.
I
And
want to
that
know,
is,
where's the ripple? Where are you going with this? So what? Great.
so
So I do
what?
this. So, and it is like it is like playing with a toddler. So I'll just tell you, it's a little irritating, but it is so important because the movement comes at the deep end of the ocean.
Yeah, ma'am.
Where do the waves come from? They don't come from the surface, they come from the ocean floor, and they
Right.
percolate up. So when
That's
we're
right.
figuring out your lane and we're figuring out how do you create big impact and how do you show up in your truth when there's going to be people who will want to not support you, tear you down, misunderstand you, you
Come
have to have
on.
that honest Teflon approach. And it says, so what where we're going.
So what?
And
Where we're going.
then once we know where we're going, I will tell you, we go back to the speed thing, which is we have to slow it down. Because while you've already achieved it, the people who will need you have not. And the steps need to be smaller. And it fights. Everybody fights it. And I said,
Mm-hmm.
you're looking to sell a unicorn. Your client is looking for their first breath.
Mm.
You've got to realize that the value is not undermined because it's slow. It's small. It's possible. It's how we win. It's where we build momentum, because every step in the movement is what creates the momentum. Everyone's like, I want momentum. I'm like, yeah, but you don't get there from 0 to 60.
Come
You get
on.
1 to 59, counting the steps to get to 60.
Come on. That
And
is
they're like,
so
that can't be true. And I'm like, it's true. And they're like, yeah, it's probably true. Like, it's probably true.
it's uncomfortable though. What you
Why you
say,
have people go with you. That's why you have a
right,
person hold your hand.
right. It's uncomfortable. And so of course it's gonna is that's where the pushback come. And that's where that you're on to something when you hit that resistance, like
Mhm.
we're going and you hit that then okay, like right, we're on to something. And it's so funny because I can't even tell you like why I started saying like one love in 2014. Like I was on Facebook and I would like do these posts, and then at the end of it, it's just like, all right, one love. And that was my sign off. And then it just rippled, it rippled, it rippled. So when people talk to me, or like even if somebody's giving me a greeting or they leave me a message, and then at the end of it, it's just like one love. People are just, it's just like from all over, it's not like I'm asked, like, I need you guys to say,
Created a
one love.
movement
You
that you did it
said,
up. Yeah.
what's the word? You can look in the post and people they'll hashtag and they'll be like, one love. I didn't say, hey, when I speak, you say one love, or whatever. But if you're gonna carry that hashtag, if you're gonna carry that title or role, or what, I hate labels, but like if you're going
You're going to
to
embody what you stand for.
come on, if you're gonna embody it, then it needs to look the same. It needs to look the same. Like your life needs to go with
It's
that.
consistency. It's what builds trust. And people,
That
we
part.
can't move without trust. And I said, trust isn't something you convince, it's something you do. And so that's what I always say to people, start now. Because I
Right.
said, don't look at the success measures of other people. We're all entertained by comparatitis.
Right. I love
Well,
it.
that destroys our
Comparatitis.
soul. It destroys our soul, but we all do. And I said, remember, I didn't get here hatched fully.
Right.
No business owner I know did. What you're forgetting, and the reason why people want to, I would say, choose me, is because I said, I have spent 30 years getting here.
Right.
You're going to get here the day you start working with me. You're going to have
Right.
all that expertise. You don't have to go through the ups, the downs, the knives, the twists, the reinventions,
Right.
all of it. What you do is that's the leverage experience. I said, you're not paying for my time. You're paying for all the experience that came before it.
Yes.
That's where community is so valuable, because no matter
Yes.
what in your community, someone's going to bring a new lens and
Yep.
then say, how do you figure out, this is a leadership thing. My dad always said 3 types of leaders. He does still say this. I shouldn't say it past tense. My dad still does say this. 3 types of leaders. Who do you want to be? The guy who can gather the facts, the one who can interpret the facts, the one who can action what the facts tell you. And the world needs the third kind. It
Yes.
gets fewer and fewer as we go up the ladder. And so
Yes.
when I'm thinking about how can I create impact, I'm like, I want to help awesome people who happen
Mhm.
to want to play in the world of business be the kind of leader where they're creating the environment they want to see in the world. And that means human first. It means compassion. Yes. It also means strength of conviction, which is I know who I am and I have space for you, even though you and I don't see the same lens. Like, gosh, the world needs that. And so I'm like,
Man.
I have the role to play. It's this. So get out of my own way. And that's why I also have good people in my life who remind me, don't get
Yes.
scared. Don't play small. It's okay to take your lumps and leave the field for a while and come back, because
Wow.
I am in the same place you are. I have had 35 years in the journey, leverage them for sure, but I'm evolving. And I think the most important thing about love is you are a work in progress. You can
Yes.
love who you are right now while you are still iterating someone more.
Right. Evolving, elevating, elevation. Yes. Wow. I mm. If I go further, then we'll be on here for about another 2 hours. It'll be the Love Drops first 2-part no episode. Ooh, man. It's so many just rich and juicy conversations. And it's just like, I want to keep going, but we will come back. We can do like a to be continued. But what I will say is, um, man, so much just rich information, so much whew, eye-opening, and just like let's go, let's get clear, let's start, let's build. What we don't want to do is just sit on a bench and just talk, 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 talk. It's a let's go movement. It's a growth, right? So if you can say your business again and how our listeners can contact you. And if you have a website that launches all of your, where you can just land on that and hit your social medias and different things, then do that. Give your website.
Yes. I'd love to. So my name was Christine Campbell Rapin, and Rapin is RAPIN.com. And that is where I'm going to direct you to come play. You're going to come see more about what I do, how I help businesses, connect to me on social media. And I want to invite you to come spend some time in the places I play. Say hello. Let me know that you got connected to us through the Love Drops and through the amazing Diane. It's beautiful. Come and find me. Welcome, and start building friendships. That's what it's all about.
So at the beginning, I asked that you just drop a little love drop of knowledge from your journey to our listeners before you sign off. So what is it that you have to offer?
Let's help people embrace your curiosity. Curiosity is the one thing I can't teach, and it is innate in you. Curiosity will help you discover all the answers to the questions you seek. So my final thought of this conversation is embrace your curiosity.
Wow. Mm. Christine, I want to thank you so much for joining us here on Love Drop Podcast. Thank you for giving us some of your time. I appreciate it. And I am looking forward to just building so many bridges globally with you, and others will be able to cross those bridges. I am looking forward to how that will look, because we will do the work. We will do the work, and we will do it in the genius of our gifts. Indeed. Indeed. So I sign off. One love.
Never a second will I waste, never an opportunity to taste the sweetness of this life.
Thank you for tuning in to the Love Drops podcast. Be sure to follow this podcast and share the love with everyone you know. Until next time, this is Charles and Diane signing off. One love.
Love it conquers all, whether big or small. Love never fails. Oh, love it conquers all. Love never fails.